Okay, I think this is working now. Okay, I think this is working now. Okay. Okay. All right, divine souls. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I am traveling. I'm on the road, as you can see. Hello, wonderful to see you. There might be an overlap in audio. I'm not sure why that's happening, but if there's any issue, we'll just close the call and I will try again. Okay. So I'm really excited about tonight because tonight we're doing day 15, finally, of our 30-day challenge. And tonight I have a really important topic, which is actually really the reason why I did this challenge to begin with. And it is the deep conversation about actually aligning with the cycles of life and death. And so what does that mean for us? Well, we're going to just jump right in. Thank you, everyone that is joining us, and welcome. Please feel free to share this live if you feel that you might value from it. I'm going to share this right now. See if anybody would like to join. I am in a different time zone right now, so wherever you guys are, good morning, good evening. So wonderful to see you guys. And yeah, let's get started here. Okay, so a couple of things that I want to talk about are some of the really exciting events that are coming up. This Saturday, I'm going to be teaching our advanced course on lucid dreaming. And this advanced course is really focused on looking at how we dream walk and how we use dream time in order to help our ascension. And primarily, we're talking about contractual agreements and life purpose, and essentially the dream state being a realm in which we are most connecting with our soul's highest purpose and activities in out-of-body experiences. In fact, one of the most important aspects of our life is what we are doing in the dream time. And essentially, the time that we spend in dream time, the amount of energy that we put towards creation in the dreamscape will affect not only this lifetime, but also many lifetimes. So we want to kind of take a look at that and understand the difference between manifestation, co-creation, and essentially, as a soul, how do we incarnate into the physical, into these many lives that we are basically creating? Every life, you're creating many lives that you're about to come into. So we're going to kind of discuss how that chain reaction occurs as a soul, and essentially the energetic mechanics of that as a life force co-creator. Okay, so we're going to go deep into that topic. Yeah, so join me this evening, this weekend, if you want to see that. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to share that class with you. If you want to join, it'd be really wonderful to have you there. You can register on my website. And of course, the basic course or the beginner's course is also available for you to take. You are welcome to join. There are unlimited replays that you can access for that, and also the course materials. So let me share my screen with you, and I'm going to show you some of the exciting upcoming events that we have. A moment. All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Lucid Dreaming and Ascension for Advanced Training, okay? And the purpose of this class is really to begin to look at how you are navigating higher states of consciousness, how you are co-creating on higher dimensions and manifesting into the physical, both in this lifetime and in other lifetimes. And we will discuss techniques of how to enter into these dream states and how to navigate them. These are sometimes some of the most challenging aspects of dream walking and being conscious and practicing lucidity, But the same techniques that we're using in waking state are the same ones that we're using in dream state. And that's really important. And I want you guys to understand the mastery of the multidimensional body in your dream state is actually the same as waking state. So we're going to take a look at those many different levels of awakening and how to manifest that. I am really excited to introduce you to a very dear friend of mine whose name is Lama Tantrapa, and we are going to be hosting Abundance Through Flow on March 23rd and 24th. And essentially, this program is designed to look at the energetics, the laws of energy that have to do with abundance. Sorry, it's taking a moment to load the page. Yeah, we're going to be looking at life force cultivation for abundance and manifestation. And the whole purpose of this is that we begin to understand the energetics of exchange and co-creation. Lama goes really deep. He is the creator of the Qigong coaching, and he's a lineage holder of the Tibetan shamanic Qigong. And I resonate a lot with his kind of work because it's very similar to the kind of work that I'm doing as well, but also strongly rooted in Qigong practices. So he is going to discuss essentially how to cultivate life force using the energies of the body in order to create abundance, okay? And I'm going to break down the biophysics of that, biophysical structures of manifestation and co-creation. This is really important for this current time of year because right now, in the first 3 months of the year are incredibly enforced for manifestation and abundance, and we're going to be experiencing acceleration of abundance as we go into the new year. I also want to invite you to another incredible event that I'm going to be doing on Portal to Ascension with my dear friend Neil Gower. We are going to be discussing extraterrestrial genetics and essentially hybrid DNA. So the name of this course is called Hybrid DNA and Ascension, the cycles of ascension. But we're going to be taking a look at some of these topics of how these interdimensional genetics play a role in who you are, in your life purpose, and what you're here to do. So this is going to be a really wonderful course for those of you that are interested and that are tuning in to your interdimensional contact, interdimensional activities, interdimensional navigations in your dream states. And I highly recommend that. I'm also going to be doing in the San Francisco Bay Area another wonderful alchemical sound bath, and the name of this came to us, both my wonderful host Matt and looking at awakening from the internal turmoil of transitions. Okay, so we're going through a lot of transitions right now. Every single person is going through profound transitions right now. And so how do we make the best of these transitions? How do we cultivate and redirect our life force for manifestation in a way that brings us major influx of energy for healing and for clarity? Okay, so we're going to be going deep into that. And the wonderful thing about this is that it will be live streamed. I will be recording and live streaming this, so you can go ahead and join us from anywhere around the world. But if you are in the San Francisco Bay Area, I would really love to connect with you all and see you there in person. So yeah, so thank you everybody for joining me tonight, and let's get started on our topic. Hi everybody, welcome everybody. It's such a pleasure to see you here today. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about aligning with the cycles of life and death. Now, as you know, the cycles of life and death are cycles that are they are encoded in this three-dimensional co-creation of manifestation. Okay, so when you are incarnated into this physical body, you are essentially tuning in to certain laws of this universe. And in these laws of the universe is the law of three. Okay, this this realm that you have chosen to participate in is run by the law of three. And that means that you are integrating the father, the mother, in order to create the child, to birth the third, okay? But the third cannot exist without the two, okay? So that means that in order for you to manifest in this world, you need to learn how to balance and integrate those two polarities within you. Now, the two polarities are actually encoded, embedded, ingrained in every subconscious element, subparticle structure of this universe. Okay, from the inside out, from the internal organs of your bodies to the chakra system, to your anatomy in your body, the structure of your physical body, the structure of your energetic body, are all moving in alignment with these natural laws. Okay, so in order to be able to work with those energies, we have to get very acquainted with these two energies and how they work. And the whole purpose for doing this challenge was for us to understand these dynamics of life and death, of creation and destruction. So you understand when you are tuning into those and how they are benefiting you. Sometimes death is exactly what is required, because at every time in these natural cycles, when a death comes, there always is a rebirth, okay? So because the nature of this entire construct is life force and energy, energy does not just erase, it doesn't just eliminate, it doesn't disappear. The laws of these physics are through the laws of transference, that it changes, it transforms into something else. So whenever we experience a death, we need to program ourselves that absolutely what will follow is a rebirth. But unfortunately, many of us that are completely still dormant and asleep in the unconscious state of the physical, and we get caught up in the physical, and we're living in the excitement, in the sensation body, in the stimulation of the physical, it's very difficult for you to see these higher laws of exchange, these higher laws of working with these energies, okay? So what happens is that we forget that we are energy beings, that we are energy, and that this entire construct is built on the laws of energy and the physics of that energy. And therefore, we become disempowered. We go back asleep into the hypnosis that this external matrix, this holographic structure, is actually more real than the power that we hold within us as creative beings, as organisms of manifestation and of harmony. So the more that we forget these core laws of the universe, the more out of balance we become with nature, the more separate we become from nature. And what happens with the separation of ourselves from nature is that we really go into the artificial, okay? And so the problem with the artificial realm, right, and there's an entire, we can talk about the embodiment in the artificial, but when we go into cycles of artificiality, we see everything as finite, and we are in the illusion that everything is a sense of plastic, it's fake, okay? And unfortunately, there's a desensitization that occurs with the organism between what is real and what is artificial. And this is a very big problem for the human, okay? Because what is artificial is essentially an imaginary construct that we make reality and that we infuse all our life force in order to hold, and our life force becomes extremely depleted. So depleted, in fact, that the human becomes sick and they go into cycles of counter-creation. Okay? So the cycles of counter-creation are a departure from nature. And we also see this in cycles of counter-creation as they create severe disharmony. They create disharmony internally in your body. They create disharmony between the three energy centers of your body, your upper, your middle, and your lower dantian. And this creates a severing between the two parts of your body particularly the lower and the middle dantian, which is your core primordial life force, right? Your root, sacral, and solar energy. And it becomes severed from the heart, the throat, and the third eye, which are your higher faculties. Your ability to tune into coherence, your ability to read through intuition, and your ability to create through the vocal cords of your sounds, the sounds that come out of your mouth, the vibrational patterns that create in this realm the things that you're about to experience. So that kind of severing creates such a severe disconnect from your source and from your ability to even open source into the body, because the severing that occurs there blocks the ability for source to anchor through the physical body. So this severing is actually something that completely disconnects you from your higher vision, from your higher self, from your internal guidance. It severs you from your purpose. When humans don't have a purpose, when they believe that they have no purpose, they go into a slow death. Okay, and so let me clarify what I mean by purpose. A purpose doesn't mean that you are then going to become a healer, and that's actually the only purpose that is allowed for all humans. But actually, we are talking about creation. Okay, so what are you creating and why? What is your intention for creating? Every single human that comes into form, into manifestation, into the physical, is actually a vibrational signature. It's a bioelectrical charge of energy and information that is created at the time of conception. And at the time of conception, there's a snapshot of the universe that is encoded within that data, microdata, that then embodies and infuses specific frequencies that make up your DNA. Okay, so you essentially are a certain vibrational frequency that is manifested as a result of all of these different systems calling forth a frequency such as yours that plays an important role in interconnecting several systems around you. Okay. So the beauty of this is that you, as this incredible manifesting creator, becomes very clear about why the universe conspired into the manifestation of your essence. You conspired in participation with that. So the key of awakening is to remember why you conspired or chose. It's just a figurative speech. It chose to manifest into the physical. Okay, so your ability to understand that will align you, okay, with all of the things in your life that are required to enhance you into the highest level of your existence, mind, body, and soul. This is what life purpose essentially means. So when you think you're just going to become a healer or you're going to do something, sometimes you're thinking too small. And I see this a lot in my sessions with people that are confused about what they're here to do. In our society, you know, we kind of have this limited concept that, you know, we just have to do one thing. We have one idea of what is good, and this is what we want to abide by. But in reality, if you understand the purpose of your conception, there's many things that you're participating in healing. And the first thing that we have to focus on healing is essentially the ancestral lineages and the traumas that are coming down, these ancestral lineages that you hold within you that actually design your entire life, that infuse your choices, your subconscious mind, the things that you're eating, the things that you're speaking, choosing, where you live, who you interact with. All of those are cyclical patterns that you are playing through, okay? So the thing is to understand very clearly, and especially in this year, as we talked about a lot, talking about the cycles of life and death, is that we are severing the programs of ancestral trauma and suffering that no longer need to exist anymore. This requires grounding, it requires awareness, and it requires a clear understanding and constant rediscovering of, your intention, constant clarity of that intention. Because it's very easy for humans to fall back asleep and to forget what that purpose is all about. Okay, so let's take a look really quickly at biophysically this aspect of embodiment of these cycles, so we can understand how to work with them. Let me just open up my presentation. A moment. And just so that you guys know that I am traveling, so I really hope that our internet stays nice and strong for us throughout. But if it gets disconnected, I will just go back live, okay? Okay, oh, that's not right. Hold on a second. All right. So first thing we want to understand with the cycles of life and death. First of all, what are we aligning with? Okay, we need to understand what we are aligning with. When we incarnate into the physical realm, we talked about the mother and the father, that we are learning how to integrate into the physical body. Okay, so what does that mean exactly? The ability to integrate these two polarities within our body are actually the key to understanding how to manage this core information of your purpose. Okay, now as an organism of a fractal of infinite potential and a fractal of the universe, as I explained in other presentations, especially the last one, the sun plays a very important role in your understanding of the roles that you play in this universe. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, the sun plays a very important role in that. How so? Essentially, the sun is the main core generator of all living beings in this universe. Okay, now we talked about the plasma element of the sun, the information that is emerging at a molecular level, in charge of creating even the kind of biochemically the kind of organisms that we have, the color of our blood, the way that our biochemical structure of the physical body is made up, the gene codes that we hold within the body to create the physical body. And then, of course, the interconnections that we experience with the morphogenetic field, which emerges from this central core of life force producer. Okay, so this sun is the producer of this central core of life force. And the sun, as we see in a lot of symbology in this world, not only through archetypal symbology, but when we look at, for example, the astrology, astrological maps of energy, of frequency, of cosmic information, we begin to understand that the sun is representing the heart. Now, there are many reasons for this, but primarily the heart is the center, it's the largest magnetic field in the body, in the same way that the sun is the largest center of energy in this entire solar system. Okay, and so from the sun is emitting like an antenna. It allows intercommunication between all of its sub-organisms, which are the planets. Now, as I mentioned in our previous video, that those planets are in alignment with your physical body, and you hold within your body charged the magnetic field of each one of those planets, because they represent frequency ranges. Each one of those are frequency ranges, frequency signatures, and they're also core plasma information that is connecting to your chakra system. And the way that energy flows in each one of those chakras matches planetary energetic systems, okay? Which is why we talked about your body becomes affected when there are major cosmic movements in this universe. Okay, so the sun being the center core of information is essentially the one that is manifesting and moving main thematic energies, so energetic themes through cycles. Now, we as a human race, we see that cycles in this universe, we feel cycles through our human organism. Okay, the human organism recognizes time not as a linear concept, but as a cyclical concept. How do we know that? Because of the regenerative nature of our world, our entire universe, and our systems. Everything is operating in cyclical patterns of life and death. There are elements of regeneration. And so we know this by connecting with our physical bodies. Every single one of our organs is regenerating. And each one of those cycles that the organs have, as you know, is in alignment with the different planetary cycles as well. Okay, so the regeneration cycles of the body work in harmony with these cosmic bodies. Now, if there were to be a major disturbance in the universe, a major disturbance in our planetary system, we would definitely feel that in our physical bodies. And many of you do. When there are major transitions, when there are major movements, cosmic movements, many of you feel it even physically in your body. So this is why the connection to your body is extremely important, because if you don't know how to manage your energetic body outside of the influence of these cosmic energies, you can very easily fall into these cycles of destruction and rebirth, which some of you might know as you have experienced some of those by looking at astrological signs, those cycles, reading your astrological maps that allow you to understand when you're going through powerful transitions and how they will affect you. Okay, so all of that beautiful information is encoded and available to you through some of these mapping systems that we've been able to create as a human race through history. And it's very interesting because I was just at this center looking at the original solar calendar the Mayans created. And this incredible calendar is basically showing us the history and the future of mankind, all encoded within these symbols, okay? And those symbols are deeply interconnected with the planets, and they're also deeply connected with the elements. They were able to figure out the mapping, the energetic mapping systems of our human organism in connection with nature hundreds and thousands of years ago, okay? And what I find the most fascinating is that these patterns and numerical cycles that we see within our organism and within our body is something that is available to us. And how we discover that is when you begin to disconnect from the matrix and from this external stimulation, and you begin to redirect your attention internally into deep meditation with yourself, you begin to notice that you recognize these cycles naturally, okay? And I discovered this for myself, and I also know that many others that are on this path discover these cycles through the physical body. Now, simply in the physical body, there are many of those cycles. I'm not going to go into every one of them because I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. But for today, I want to go generally in how we align with these cycles of life and death. Every 7 years, all the cells in your body are replaced, okay? So what's very interesting about these 7-year cycles is that within 7 years, you might notice tremendous patterns in your life. And a lot of times, people that are in, let's say, long-term relationships or marriages, there is that 7 years in which those relationships can become challenged based on the vibrational frequency. And it's very interesting because these are cycles that we recognize, and every single one of those 7 cycles, 7 years and cycles within, match the maturation process of the human body when we are going from the womb until the age of 7, because this is where we are most receptive. This is when we are like sponges in an emotional state of tuning into the emotions of the world around. We learn about emotions and we begin to understand how to utilize those emotions in order to translate our life experiences. And so what this shows us is that we have an opportunity utilizing the 7-year cycle to regenerate many things, not just the cells in our body, which happen naturally, but our programming. And there are times in these 7-year cycles that it's easier to deprogram programs, and there are times in these 7-year cycles that it's more difficult, that it feels more difficult to deprogram some of these programs. But how you can kind of identify where you are in these cycles of regeneration is that if you're getting to more challenging years where the energy feels more sluggish and more difficult to connect with, more difficult to, you lose clarity, you lose focus in the connection with your ability to read your multidimensional body, that happens when you are getting to the end of these 7-year cycles. Okay, so you want to begin to notice that, because it's asking, your organism is beginning to invite you to begin the process of death. Okay, many things have to die in order for the rebirth and the regeneration to take place. And in ancient times, when people were more connected with nature and when they would work with these cycles consciously, they would literally make it as a ceremony, utilizing ceremonial techniques to dive into these underworlds, into the non-physical realm, into out-of-body experiences, in order to begin to gain clarity on the purpose as they come into the new cycle, the new 7 years, the beginning of the new 7 years. It's very important that you come into meditation on a daily basis to begin to familiarize yourself with where you're at in these cyclical patterns of yourself. Now, there's many levels to this understanding, but as a general rule, the more still you become in your life, the more connected you are between your upper, middle, and lower dantian, and you open the runways of communication with your multidimensional body, the more you will be able to access clearly these cycles and recognize them within your body and proactively begin to apply the transformations and changes that need to occur. When we don't align with these cycles, suffering emerges. And of course, another element of this is that we come into profound cycles of karma. Excuse me. So within these 7 years, we are cycling through karma and dharma, okay? And karma and dharma. So I'm just going to talk about karma in terms of cause and effect as a general core law of this universe. Everything has a cause and effect, okay? So wherever we put intention and energy, we direct the intention and energy in one direction, there will be an outcome. And the level of consciousness of a human, the level of your consciousness and your awareness will basically be shown by the outcome of your intentions and of your actions. If the outcome of your intentions and your outcomes results in suffering for yourself and another, and the kind of suffering that we're talking about is unconscious states of suffering, okay? Different from conscious states of suffering. How so, and why, and how? Because when you are in an unconscious state of suffering, you are not aware of what your lesson is and why you end up in this state of suffering. And you are there unconsciously. Sometimes you don't even know that you are suffering. You just continue on these feelings of discomfort in your life, and you don't question it, you don't work with it, you don't manifest differently. Okay, and those are people that are in constant states of disconnect from their own power, okay, and their own ability to create. So this is a state of counter-creation. The opposite of that is that you understand when an ending needs to come, and that ending may cause temporary suffering, and yet you choose to suffer, okay? Because suffering is always a choice. But if you choose to suffer, then you allow yourself to go through that mourning process of detachment, of leaving, of departure from whatever that toxic element was, and into a clear understanding that you can choose a co-creation. Okay, this is extremely powerful to understand because many of the humans are stuck in unconscious states of suffering in which we go into lower states of co-creation. Okay, so remember, in levels of creation, when the human is in states, in being in complete states of effect, the world is doing stuff to us, right? The world makes us suffer. We come into states of helplessness, hopelessness. We are completely in effect of the world. We believe that we have no power, no control over the things that are happening to us, because they happen to us. And this is a very specific way of existing. Okay, so if you choose within those 7 years to be unconscious every time that these challenges are brought up for regeneration, and in order to revisit your alignment with them, you miss the opportunities. It manifests into the physical in a deeper subconscious manner. And there are some people that live lifetimes trapped in existing in states of suffering without understanding how much power they have to transform their existence. They simply believe that something external has more power than their own will to change, to create, to love, and to choose a higher state of consciousness and existence. Okay, the opposite of that is to experience a temporary death. Okay, this temporary death of an experience. And this is part of our creation. Okay, so let's go into a higher state. Let's go to the first state of existing in cause, which means that instead of things happening to you, you actually make them happen for you. You do them, okay? So when we're in this state of cause, in a state of co-creation with the universe, we are in harmony with life and death. We are in harmony with these cycles of beginning and ending. That's a very huge state of existence. The human that allows themselves to harmoniously move through these cycles of life and death, that is in harmony with their organism, which is in harmony with the integration process, which can sometimes be very challenging and painful for the physical body, of the lower dantian, the middle and the upper dantian, becomes a master manifester and co-creator, which begins to experience miracles and synchronicities in their life. This state of awareness can only be reached by existing in a state of truth. Okay, so how do we bring ourselves to come in harmony with these cycles of this earth, of this solar system, of this universe? The beauty of nature is that it operates by the highest harmony. It operates by the highest symmetry, the highest order, and there is a natural order to our existence. The order of this existence is for us to live harmoniously internally and externally. And the key to that harmonious existence is the absolute pursuit of truth. Now, what do we mean by truth? The ability to exist in the pursuit of truth means that we understand that the design of the natural system of this universe, first, in order to understand truth, you have to understand nature. there is a certain primordial intelligence to nature in which there is an economizing of energy that is specifically created with intention and purpose. There is an intelligence behind that creation. And nature is so incredibly complex that there are many systems of nature that we are just now discovering, even of our own body, the way our bodies function. We are discovering, and through the discovery of our physical internal function, we also, at the same time, find these discoveries in nature, in the natural world. And we begin to see these mirrors of how the most productive form of achieving something is designed by the intelligence of symmetry and the natural order of harmony that nature provides us as an example. And this harmony is an expression of truth. The clear understanding that in order for something to come alive, there must be a death that should be experienced. And vice versa, in order for something to die, there must be a new rebirth. So these kinds of cycles require a certain maturity. Okay? Because if the human cannot be mature enough to allow these cycles to move through them, as them, with them, the human completely forgets the power of their creativity. To harmonize with these natural laws of nature is the highest spiritual maturity. And with that, as you know, if you observe a tree that goes through the different seasons, the leaves on the tree will turn yellow, they will turn very dry, and they will die. They will fall off the tree. But neither the leaf nor the tree mourn the death of that leaf. Both of them are completely harmonious dancing in the reconnection of energy. In fact, the leaf happily is receding its energy into the tree so that the tree can preserve itself during the winter time. And naturally, the plant has an intelligence of sensing the seasons. When the seasons begin to change, the plants adapt to that change. So many of these systems are communicating constantly, intercommunicating, interconnecting. There's an exchange of energy. And the power between that exchange of energy is really something that we begin to notice in the inspiration of creation in this higher realm. So as a manifester, as a pure co-creator of this universe, we are beginning to understand the responsibility behind that maturity, that when it's time for something to die, that we allow that death to take place, whether that's a part of us, whether that is something external to us, whether that's an experience, an event, relationships, whether those are thought forms, programs. And this kind of intelligence requires your conscious awareness. And you also only have the ability of choosing if you are awake and if you are present. If you are not awake and if you're not present, again, you are in the effect. Now, within this world, there is, even within the distribution of those that are in effect and those that are at cause in this universe, are cycling through different phases. Just like we have those 7 years, every single human is at a different stage of those processes. But as a whole, this entire planet Earth is somehow in a state of harmony. There is a harmonious intelligence. So to be connected with nature is to understand and respect these cycles of balance. And that means that a lot of human suffering is completely imaginary. We make it up and we abide by that suffering as a truth, as an absolute truth, when it's only a temporary truth. Now, there is a big difference between that. It doesn't mean that there isn't suffering in this world, but it does mean that if you don't understand the temporary nature of these experiences that cause suffering, that you will force yourself, you will believe wholeheartedly, truly, you will program the cells in your body to believe that they need to exist in that suffering over and over and over again. And this is how you begin to turn the vortex of your body into a counter creator, a centrifugal spin. And you then begin to experience the counter creation in this universe. Okay? So there are many important elements to these cycles of life and death. But when we come into counter creative cycles, what is affected by that is not just your ability to manifest and to change your life, but also your internal organs begin to malfunction. Your internal organs begin to malfunction, and the systems of energy within your body that allow you to come into the highest truth come out of disharmony. Now, this is a very big abuse that we do on our physical body. When the physical body goes into these cycles of destruction, of self-destruction, we begin to really suffer deeply in the physical body. And we are essentially out of harmony with our body, with our mind, and causing ourselves states of self-destruction can stagnate your growth, your ability to manifest, and to co-create. So as you begin to understand that in your body, remember that because this is a choice, your ability to choose differently is actually not only affecting you, but as a parent, for example, if you choose to bring another soul into this planet, it literally begins to affect the children that you bring into this planet. And ancestrally, you are consciously choosing to be okay with repeating parasitic, counter-creative programs of the past. Not only do you not live in the present moment, when we are in states of suffering, we are always living in the past, or we are imagining the future, neither of which exist in the present moment. So, how do we begin to shift this now? The human has to become so aware of themselves and these patterns that we begin to lovingly and compassionately notice when we are choosing to be at cause and when we are choosing to create. And we also have to understand the cause and effect of those states in our physical body. There's a certain element that the human begins to shift within themselves. As we begin to gently shift, our entire body comes back into harmony with the cycles of the universe. Remember that the entire universe organizes itself in spirals, cyclical spirals, okay? Your DNA coils into a spiral, and the ability to braid DNA the most productive manner, which means that it allows DNA to express itself in its optimum expression. That means a good immune system. That means physical organisms that are working harmoniously with one another, intercommunications, blood flows, you are accessing memory. Okay? So the more healthy you become, the way that you actually embody the braiding of your DNA begins to organize your body in a state of harmony for its creation. The body even becomes healthier. People can experience rejuvenation. People can experience harmonious and more symmetrical structures in your energetic body. And when this is cultivated over time, this is what we inherit into our offspring, okay? The children and the souls that we bring into this realm. So what does that take? What does it take to begin to work with these? Okay? These cycles of harmony begin to bring cycles of the physical body into harmony with nature. But energy can also flow to this physical body. It begins to flow harmoniously. The braiding of your DNA is synonymous to the braiding of energies that flow through your body. Every single one of the chakras in your body is moving energy, creating rivers of life force through the chakra system. As soon as one of your chakras is not in harmony, which means that they are contracted or blocked. So for most people, unfortunately, the back of your chakra system is completely disconnected. Not only is it completely disconnected, but you have no idea how to control your chakra system. Now, we have to learn how to control the chakra system. If we do not understand how to control the chakra system, the body comes out of harmony. Okay, this is extremely important. And actually, how we best begin to bring the body back into harmony is by opening the channels of life force, source energy through the core. By once again controlling the chakras to open. Why do chakras get blocked? Thought forms. Okay? Thought forms block your chakras. If you are not, and the chakras are not just some random vortices in your body, they are your entire organism. They are the most important part. Okay? And if we don't know how to begin to clear stagnant thought forms, which are no longer in alignment with the cycles that are existing outside of us. Now, here's another thing that I want you to understand. Because the universe organizes in spirals, and because we are cycling through these 7 years of regeneration in our cells and our physical body, within these 7 years, if you don't recognize within your body what needs to end and what needs to begin, you become contracted in your creation. And the way that this universe is moving is actually always in ascension. We are always entering into a higher octave of frequency. Okay? And so what that means is that existing in a higher octave of frequency, acting on that higher octave of frequency, allows you to come into harmony. But if you don't recognize the patterns that you're holding are toxic to your current reality, you block yourself from aligning with these natural cycles of the universe. You won't be able to tune in to the downloads and information that are brought through the organism. A body that is disconnected from their emotions. So if I sit with you and you don't know what your emotions feel like, and you're unable to name out the emotion of the sensations in your body, if you have an illness and you don't know what emotion brought that illness on, if you are having a bad day and you don't understand what emotion brought on that bad day, you are completely disconnected from your core creation system. You're disconnected from your chakras and you're disconnected from your emotions. Therefore, you cannot tune in to the frequencies and higher information that this universe provides us. Because once again, the soul, the sun, is the core communication, intercommunication system of all cosmic bodies that revolve in and around us. And if we are disconnected from our heart, which is the connection to the sun, you cannot receive those informations. What you're receiving is counter-creative, temporary truths, mostly in states of survival, that are not aligning you with the highest truth of this organism. Organism of the earth, organism of the solar system, organism of this universe. And of course, your organism is a fractal of all of those. So if within your body you are not able to begin to work with the movement and the natural cycles of opening old thought forms, declogging old thought forms from shrunken, contracted chakra systems, we become very disconnected. And the more programmed you are with the temporary illusion of the physical matrix, the more disconnected you are from the cosmic truths of this greater universe. And your subconscious programs that are within your mind are repetitive traumas that are passed down through generations over and over and over again. Okay? So, we, in this current time, aligning with the natural cycles of life and death, need to mature enough Sorry, guys, we got disconnected. It might be a little too much to have a PowerPoint presentation, so I'm just going to continue like this, okay? Let me just make sure we go back online here. Try to fast forward the live. I hope it didn't have to start another live, guys. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, my internet's not so great here. But if we continue to disconnect from those cycles of life and death, we continue to create suffering into the physical body. And more importantly, and as part of your understanding of this greater whole, oh, great. Thank you. Love, love, love. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. You begin to understand your contribution to the whole. Okay. Now, because there's free will, enough for you to choose your participation. Okay. How do you define your free will? Now, the concept of free will is another profound topic that I'm not going to go too deeply into at this time. But very few of us really utilize our free will, really have free will, because we are so deeply interconnected to these natural cycles of life and death. And more so, we are deeply interconnected with one another, okay? Say, for example, in a family in which your role is to cause a death of a program, a death of a pattern. It might be that that death of your participation in that pattern might be very painful for another family member, or for example, a relationship. Okay, so what happens in those cases is that you are participating in a death and that person is severely affected. So this is how we are deeply interconnected. And sometimes it's obviously necessary to create those kinds of scenarios. But the human that is wise and that has matured their heart chakra into the cultivation of compassion understands from the highest truth what is the most compassionate thing to do. And sometimes the cause of that painful ending for yourself and the other is the most compassionate thing to do. And that sometimes it's very hard for the human to accept that. Okay? So let's discuss really quickly when we are talking about coming into this connection with truth. Okay. A lot of the suffering that we experience as a whole, because it's a choice, we have to be able to create an entire support system for us in order to maintain and hold a new way of existing. And this is the rebirth that we're talking about. Okay? Why is this important to familiarize yourself? Now, we have been slowly maturing as a human race for many generations. We have been going through deep shadows of the feminine, deep shadows of the masculine. We are now emerging into a new era, and never before has this been more clear to me as my visit to take a look at the ancient artifacts of the Mayan culture, in which we begin to see the sun calendar, that the ending of that solar calendar was actually the marking of the beginning of the new human. And this is exactly why we're having this conversation today, because the emergence of the new human at the beginning of period 9, which we're starting this year, but going deeply into in this next year, is the beginning of the regeneration and the reemergence of the divine feminine. Now, the divine feminine is the intuition, the higher faculties. It is profound trust. It is the integration and the healing of the divine feminine and the masculine polarities within ourselves. It is extremely important for you in order to have an intuition that you balance these polarities within you. You cannot have intuition if you do not balance these two. Your intuition is skewed, okay? Which is why it's incredibly important for you to train your energetic hygiene. All of the debris in your multidimensional body that's skewing your ability to flow fluid life force, to braid DNA to its optimum expression, to connect and open your body to become a channel and a conduit for higher frequencies of information, your body being a biochemical, bioelectrical structure of creation. Any part of you that blocks that creation, that blocks that structure of healing and integration of yourself with nature and with the whole, becomes a system of self-destruction. And therefore, you cannot have free will because, and so let me clarify what I mean by free will, that you can choose. So you are creating the experiences that you're having. Okay, so, and I'm sorry I can't show you my presentation anymore because I don't want to lose you guys. But to be at cause, that you cause the events in your life intentionally, is actually the only time that you come into master manifestation and co-creation. To be in effect of the experiences means that things are happening to you and you are unconsciously cycling through them. So it's really important that we begin to understand these harmonious states of existence. And sometimes choosing these deaths in our life is actually the most productive thing for your soul and your connection to the greater. So let's go ahead and go into a meditation, and let's see if we can align ourselves with these cycles of life and death. Go ahead and allow yourself to come into a state of meditation. Breathing. Allow yourself to come into absolute stillness. Go ahead and create a grounding cord connecting your body all the way down to the center of the earth. And go ahead and bring your grounding cord all the way up onto your shoulders, as if you're wearing a bodysuit. Your shoulders, your waist, your hips, perineum, down through the layers of the earth and connect down to the center core of the planet. As you allow yourself to come into absolute stillness, begin to visualize your energetic body around you. Begin to see your energetic body around you, 13 layers of your body. You can see a sphere around you made out of something completely impenetrable. Go ahead and focus on the root chakra at the base of the spine. Go ahead and shrink the root chakra down to the size of a dime. Go up to the sacral. Go ahead and shrink that chakra down to the size of a dime. Go into the solar. Go ahead and shrink that solar chakra down to the size of a dime, both front and back. Just going to visualize shrinking it down as if you're closing the aperture of a camera. Breathing deeply down to the base of the spine. Go ahead and go into your heart. Go ahead and expand your heart chakra as wide as possible, opening the center of coherence. Go up into the throat, expanding your throat chakra, opening the center of communication. In harmony. Go up into your third eye. Go ahead and expand your third eye chakra, opening the center of intuition. Go up into your crown. Go ahead and expand your crown chakra. Go ahead and visualize now as we begin to connect to the center of the earth. Go ahead and bring up a powerful wave of green life force that comes rushing up into your body, creating a vortex of energy. From source, go ahead and bring down a powerful wave of gold energy that comes down from source through the crown of your head, combining with the green earth energy. Go ahead and take 10% of that, send it back down to the center of the earth, eliminating from your 13 layers debris. Take 80% of that energy up your spine and from the crown of your head, coating the outside of your body. Go ahead and allow yourself to call back your life force from people, places, and things that are not in alignment with you. Everything you've interacted with. Go ahead and take that green and gold energy and bring it into your body now as you absorb it into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level, transforming any darkness into white light. As you allow yourself to breathe and come into a state of complete relaxation, complete calm, I want you to begin to observe an ending. Either you recognize something that has needed to end in your life, or any sorrow about an ending that you've experienced recently. It can be recent in the past week, month, year, an impactful ending that has occurred most recently. Go ahead and take yourself there. And I want you to observe the emotions that begin to come up for you as you begin to observe your relationship with endings, with death. Just the relationship of death between you and death. This can be death of a loved one, death of a program, death of a habit, death of a relationship, death of a job, death of a part of yourself. Begin to observe something that you have had to end within yourself, within your life. And take a look at the emotions that begin to arise. As you begin to notice the contraction of your body, as you begin to have memories come up, thoughts and emotions, however your way of seeing the information will be easier to read and identify by the sense that you're most connected and that is most developed in you. So it could be very clear vision. It could be something you hear. It can be something you know. Some people even taste certain things, certain truths in their life, or something you feel. So allow yourself to tune in to the sense that is most developed for you and begin to identify the part of your body that contracts the most as you tune in to the way that you feel about death, about this death, whatever it is. And as you begin to notice the discomfort in your body, go ahead and allow yourself to name out the emotions that begin to arise. Turn those sensations into emotions. Sometimes it helps for you to begin to describe this emotional sensation as a character. It could be a caricature, or it could be a fruit or a color. And from there, you will be able to extract the emotion. However you reach the emotion, allow yourself, and don't go into the analytical mind, allow yourself to identify the emotion that comes up for you there. See that now. With every breath you take, as you begin to observe the emotion that comes up, name it out. Breathing. And with every breath you take, as you begin to notice what comes up for you, some of you might notice stagnation in your belly. Some of you might begin to notice that your back tenses up. Go ahead and take a look at that. And as you begin to identify the discomfort in your body, notice what else comes up. Name out the emotions that begin to come up. Breathing. Every breath you take, as you name out these emotions, notice which one is the strongest of these emotions. Name it out. Once again, locate in your body what part of your body tenses up. And as you begin to notice that part of your body that tenses up, go ahead and name out the sensations that are there as emotions. Breathing. As you begin to become familiar with your relationship with death, allow yourself to notice the strongest emotion that is in your body right now. And I want you to recognize this. I want you to take yourself back to the very first time that you felt this emotion in your life. Take yourself there. As you begin to observe this memory, we are just simply observing I want you to make sure that your first three chakras are closed and your top three are open so that you can be in as much of a neutral state as possible. And we are simply observing the experience. What is occurring to you there? You might be surprised with the memory that comes up. It might be something that you've never thought of before, that you haven't remembered. As you begin to see this memory, observe your relationship with death. Observe the way that you feel in that moment. What emotions are coming up for you? Direct your attention to yourself. Notice how old you are. Focus on the emotions that come up for you. Notice how your perceptions of life and death shift as you experience these emotions through your body. Some of these emotions can be very strong. They can be deeply embedded in your body. You might feel it in the root and in the spine and in the sexual organs more than anywhere else, because this is where we store primordial programs. So programs that you have about life and death will be stored there within your primordial energy. Begin to observe the fears that come up. Acknowledge them. Identify them and acknowledge them. And as you have constructed your list of fears, we're going to work down this list. Go ahead and take the first thing on your list. Bring that emotion in your body. What is it that you require from yourself in order to not feel this emotion in your body? What do you need as an organism in order to no longer exist in that state? If you could have anything that you wanted in the world, in this universe, what would you ask for yourself in that moment to have in order to shift your perception of suffering into a more productive state, into one that is in harmony with the experience that is occurring around you? And of course, that harmony is inside of your body, not necessarily that we affect the external. So what do you need from yourself in order to bring yourself from this state into a state of harmony? Notice how much of our body flinches and contracts when we begin to see suffering, pain, or things that we severely judge. It takes a lot of life force from our bodies to be able to hold space for things that are out of harmony, seemingly out of harmony. And we won't be able to see clearly if we infuse these events with our judgments before we begin to observe what is occurring. So notice how helpful it is to move away from a state of judgment into a state of pure neutral observer. And just begin to observe the information that emerges from that stillness as an observer. Notice as you uncover these programs, these subconscious programs, you begin to notice how similar we behave in our life to some of these subconscious programs that we can witness in those that are causing suffering in these experiences. How have we become the same? How have we desensitized ourselves from truth? How have we desensitized ourselves from feeling difficult emotions, from running away from truths? Take a look at that. Ask yourself, does suffering cause illness? Does death cause suffering? And as you begin to understand, important understanding about your relationship with death, notice what you need in order to be in harmony with the cycles of death. Observe that. Some of you might discover that it's deep acceptance. It can be things like compassion. It can be things as non-judgment. And as you begin to observe these, I want you to see if you can transform them into a color, just one color that represents all of these things that you require. And I want you to begin to infuse all the fractals of yourself that have experienced the resistance of this death, the judgment, the contraction as a result of this experience of death. Go ahead and allow each of your parts to begin to absorb this color, this new understanding of death within their body. Gently breathing. And as each of these parts begin to integrate within themselves deeper and deeper, allow yourself to merge these fractals into one self in front of you. Very good. We're going to go into the second part of this healing. I want you to clear those memories out of your space. Come back into the neutral observer. And I want you to begin to observe your relationship with life, with creation, with manifestation. Begin to observe your relationship with life. Life through you, as you, from you. Whether you're a parent of another human soul, a parent of a pet, a parent of a product, a parent of a creation, of an art piece. I want you to take a look at your relationship with creation and life. And I want you to begin to look at all the parts of you that resist creation, that are fearful of creation in any way. Notice what emotions come up. You might be surprised to notice that some of the emotions that begin to arise are slightly similar to the ones that you felt about death. So you will be able to gauge your relationship with both of these energies by understanding your perceptions and programs, your subconscious programs that you have behind these two creative energies. If you tend to go more towards one than the other, you can also see where you have imbalances within your own perception, within the polarities of yourself, your feminine and your masculine energy. So just observe, what do you require from yourself? Take a look at all the fractals of yourself that have feared creation, that have feared life, that have feared that expansion of itself as life in any way, in any form, that have feared manifestation of either themselves or something external to them. What do you need from yourself in order to no longer have these restraints, limitations, fears, resistance of life? Take a look at that. Breathing. Very good. So go ahead and see all these fractals of yourself merging into one self. And I want you to see these two main fractals, the one of death and the one of life. And I want you to merge them as one and begin to observe any part of you that resists the merging of those two, life and death. You might notice that you have fears around acceptance, fears around creation, and you might notice more subconscious fears that begin to arise. Take a look at that. Breathing. You will see one self in front of you now, fully integrated. Go ahead and inhale deeply, bring that into your body. And just begin to notice, how do you feel? See if the way that you felt of death has shifted now. Take a look at that. And similarly, go ahead and take a look at your relationship with life and just observe if that has shifted at all. Allow yourself to refocus on your body. You're going to begin to open your root chakra back up, your sacral and your solar. I want you to allow yourself to clear out your root, sacral, and solar chakra. Go up into your heart and clear your heart. Make sure both sides of your chakras are all nice and expanded, even, whole, complete, solid around your whole body. Going up into the third eye now, the heart, the throat, and the third eye. Allow yourself to see a room full of karmic contracts. These are all the agreements you have made in this lifetime to learn and experience between life and death. Allow yourself to release all of those contracts. You can dissolve them, destroy them, burn them up, blow them up, whatever feels real to you. Go ahead and dissolve them from that room till it's completely empty. You're going to take your crown chakra and just notice what color you see there. Go ahead and add some gold. You're going to illuminate your crown in the area of your career, in the area of your abundance, love, relationships, harmony, success, integration, health, vitality, understanding, consciousness, joy, and your purpose. Go ahead and take that color and you're going to fill that room full of karmic contracts with that color. You're going to go up and activate the 8th, activate the 9th, activate the 10th, activate the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, the 16th, the 17th, the 18th, the 19th, the 20th, the 21, 22, 23, and 24. And above you is a powerful white light of source. Go ahead and connect up into that source and bring that source down into your body, into the perineum, anchor down into the center of the earth. Go ahead and allow yourself to open the chakra in the center core of your belly, opening the pillar of white light that goes through the belly, through the spine, out around the parameter of the earth, grounding and anchoring yourself in the axis of co-creation, of integration from the cosmic and the earth energy through you, as you are the third and you produce the third. Very good. You guys did amazing. Welcome back. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It was such an honor to be here with you. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions, you can put them down in the chat. And once again, if you want to join me for any of these amazing events that we have coming up, especially this Saturday, please do join me. And also next weekend with Neil Gower. I'm so excited to host this amazing event on hybrid DNA, right? Your hybrid DNA. What does that mean? Do you have hybrid DNA? What does that look like? How does that express and how do we use it for our ascension? And it actually plays a very important role in your ascension. So I'm going to be covering all those parts so that we can understand very deeply how to use this information. Okay? All right, my loves, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much. Let me see if there's any questions. Thank you so much for your amazing comments, guys. Love you so much. David M., hello. Pono, Paula Louise, Alex. That's great, Alex. Alchemist Alexander, thank you so much for that. Roy Boy, Cooley, hi. Ellen, Pono, Cooley, hi. So great. Love you. You can catch the replay, absolutely. Cosmic Key says, Dear Geraldine, namaste. How did you manage to navigate through each of the 7 years of cycles? Like the beginning of your recent 2 cycles must have been very fascinating for you. Thank you. Yes, actually, Melind, very much so. In fact, they were quite difficult actually because the beginning of one of my massive cycles was in 2017 actually. And in 2017, I had an entire life reset. I ended a long-term relationship. I changed my career literally overnight. And, you know, the kind of downloads and truths that were coming through were so extremely powerful that they were very powerful existential crises because I had to readjust to that in understanding pretty quickly. And I had to embody it. The embodiment part wasn't as hard as the integration of your, you know, mind body, the mind and the higher mind. But what helped me was again reverting back and discovering these laws of the universe, which are core, basic, fundamental truths of exchange of energy, of creation and manifestation. And I think that if I didn't understand those laws the way I understand them now, none of this would make sense. And it would be very difficult for us as humans to create and manifest in this physical realm. But those laws present themselves and have been presenting themselves for centuries and centuries because they are a natural expression of this universe, of this construct. So we discover them by connecting with nature, and you can only connect with nature through your body. Everything is through the body. There is nothing outside that will help you understand that. Even psychedelics, as you know, my perception of this is that those are even temporary experiences, but there's an entire biochemical, bioelectrical restructuring in the body. Even architecturally, your energetic body molds, shifts, and cultivates. You can't grow gray matter in your brain by doing an ayahuasca ceremony. Okay, so that gray matter in the brain and down the spine is only cultivated through hours of stillness where you are training your body and deprogramming matrix body into new human body, which is deeply in connection with these cycles of the universe. So there is a major deprogramming and an emergence of a new part of you that we have to welcome. And so in today's lecture, talking about these two sides of that life and death is extremely important. We have to familiarize ourselves with life as much as we familiarize ourselves with death. Now, some of you might say, hey, my life is very difficult. I constantly live in death. But are you really dying, or are you existing in a constant resistance of the death? And alternatively, are you really living, or are you existing in a constant illusion and externalizing of life, but no actual manifestation and co-creation? Okay, so the true markers of a human that has integrated their ability to create is one that exists in harmony and can manage these two polarizing energies through them and with them. Okay, it's very important to do that. So yeah, so thank you so much for that question. And yeah, wherever you are in your journey, please let me know how I can assist you. Thank you, Marilena, Christine, Rob, Core, Juliana, love, love, love. So many of you, 176 of you online with me right now. So great to see you guys. Let's see, we have a question. I can imagine last 14 years in total, I believe, Geraldine, what an experience. What's it saying? I can't read it. Hold on, Malind. What an experience. You are a brave person. Thank you so much. And so are you, Malind. You are a light worker in your family who is holding space for greater. Alchemist Alexander, I'm starting to see new colors, but I am unsure of what they mean. What does silver, blue, indigo green, and hot pink mean? Okay, so colors are basically, it's the language of the universe, but how you understand what those colors mean is by understanding your emotions and understanding the frequency, the cause and effect of those emotions as a frequency, as a creative or destructive energy in your life. So how those are output and, you know, that frequency that is created by the output, you will notice if it's creative or destructive. And we can look through the ranges of frequency from red to violet that are the natural refraction of white light to understand that self-organizing order of frequency in order to kind of get an idea of what more contractive, slower bandwidth frequencies look like and what more expansive, faster moving frequencies feel and look like. Okay, so your colors, depending on where in that range of refracting light is existing, you will be able to get a sense of the weight of the frequency and also, well, the speed, of course. And from that understanding, intuitively connect to the emotions that are connected to those frequencies. This is something that you learn intuitively over time by knowing yourself and knowing your emotions. But you can also look at a range of frequencies and you can use them to understand, okay? So yeah, so this is something that you can look at and connect with your colors and ask for the emotion, connect with the reactions in your body that the colors bring for you. All of you should be able to feel colors. Okay, that's the intuition. And the way you feel them is through the five senses. Okay, so some of you will hear, some of you will see, some of you will taste, some of you will sense, some of you will know. So get to know which one of your senses is most developed so that you can begin to develop all of your senses, the ones that are missing. Okay? Okay, Alchemist, Alexander, Cosmic Key, thank you so much, Melon. Thank you so much. Can I ask, do we actually need to manifest anything if we are already everything? If being who we really are, where does choice and manifestation come into that? Yeah, that's an awesome question. But as I mentioned earlier in this video, you see, your entire body has manifested as a result of self-organization of nature. Okay, it has manifested your organism to be conceived during this timeline, in this time of the universe, in this dimension. And there's a certain order to that because we're so deeply interconnected. Your ancestors brought you forth in the same way that you have come forth as a result of your ancestors. So, just in that truth alone is already a purpose defined for you because whatever death has come to that lineage as a result of their choices, you can choose to bring light and illumination to all of those deaths that have been previously experienced with the sole purpose of coming into your highest, most harmonious expression as an organism, participating in the existence of the laws and natural order of this construct. Okay? So when you incarnate into this realm, there's a role that you play. Your first role is to experience what you came here to experience. There are some souls that die in the womb. They don't even come into birth, but that death in the womb played an important role in ending certain cycles of ancestral trauma. And the carrier of the fetus in the womb that has died is the one that will transmute. But the two souls have worked together. These two consciousness work together to do that kind of work. Okay? So in the same way that in fall, the leaves fall to preserve energy for the tree and to need less water and to depend less on its external environment, these kinds of harmonious rebalancing is happening in us as organic generators of life and as sustaining these ancestral lineages of information. So manifestation is not about the material, not about wealth, not about cars, not about relationships, not even about children. And this goes into a deeper topic that I will cover some other time. But your purpose here as a co-creator is the sustainability of a frequency that is harmonious with the whole first. Okay? And so how you come into that cultivation of that frequency really depends on the choices that you're making in your life. I hope that helps a little bit. But I think I will answer your question even more thoroughly with the rest of this challenge. Okay, so hang in there. Jennifer Rhodes, thank you. I would love to have a session with you. Connect to Heal. Thank you for Jennifer. I would love to work with you. Please do check out my website, GeraldineOrozco.com, for services. Nellie says, I'm seeing dragons of light in my meditations. I didn't know about them. Do you know about them? Yes, we do have archetypal parts of us that are reptilian and draconian and also dragon lineages that we have within us. And they all play different kinds of roles of collective information that we are healing and that is emerging at this time. Now, we are in the Chinese calendar year of the dragon. And so it's the wooden dragon. And so that life force primarily is going to begin to emerge this incredible alchemical symbol that the dragon portrays. Okay. And I can't go deep into that explanation, but it represents coming from the ashes into life, that regeneration cycle that wood produces, that when you burn it, it creates ashes, those ashes go into the earth, and there's an entire life cycle of burning and regeneration that this wood represents. We are also learning how to do that through our body. This year being the 8th year of the infinity, which represents cycles of karma. Again, cause and effect. So if you're beginning to notice these dragon archetypes as a part of you, they speak to your ancestral lineage. So get to know your ancestral lineage and your connection with dragon races throughout history, because you probably have those bloodlines encoded in your genetic makeup. And this can assist you in your healing if you understand how to use that information. But if you understand the core limitations of these civilizations and of these archetypal parts of us, you can enhance them and support them for healing, for you to come into your highest state. Okay, so this is how I would translate that. And of course, I would look at the dragons in terms of their color and element that they're most connecting with to understand my relationship with them. Okay. Darina, so when there is a yellow and purple pink pulsate mainly, I see mainly purple when I have closed eyes in the morning on meditation. Okay, so check out my videos on the alchemy challenge, the alchemical challenge. In this challenge, I'm discussing in depth violet light. And now violet light is a color that we have encoded within the cells of our body, within all of our organism. And violet light is a frequency that interconnects all particles of this universe as a network of intercommunication. Essentially, it is the runway of life force that runs through the morphogenetic field from the non-physical into the physical. It is the transmutory frequency that connects the non-physical with the physical. Okay, so if you're seeing violet light, this is a wonderful tell that you are cultivating your higher faculties. Now you need to learn how to redirect primordial energy, for example, your sexual energy, up into your pineal gland in order to grow that violet light. And essentially, you want to cultivate your body of violet light. And there's many other colors that you have to cultivate. That's the first step when you begin to see that violet light. And you're going to want to develop your third eye and begin to heal your relationship with self-trust, okay? And also the divine feminine. Anytime that you have limiting belief systems or limiting programs around the divine feminine, and your relationship with intuition is what you're going to want to visit, okay? Thank you so much for that question. Cosmic Key, Malin says, hi Geraldine, Bashar was saying that in order to communicate with ETs, we need around 150,000 cycle hertz of frequency. How do I raise my frequency to that level, and what is my frequency now? So I cannot resonate with that information simply because we are constantly moving in and out of dimensions, okay? You're constantly moving in and out of dimensions, number one, all the time. In fact, you have all frequencies encoded in your body, okay? And we don't want to cherry pick the kind of experiences that we're having. It's important that we not, because as a human soul, because this is, there can be a lot of confusion around this, that people think that if you only come into love and light, you're only going to experience love and light. But as I explained in today's presentation, you know, we're cyclical organisms, and we must go through cycles of life and death, which means that at some point in your life, you will reach some of these lower parts of you. When you reach high states of consciousness and you don't have that resistance against these dualities within you, the resistance of that polarity within you. You have integrated that. You exist in bliss, and there really is no reason for you to exist in this realm anymore. So the body will dissolve. Okay, you can literally die and transition into another level. It doesn't mean that you have to be sick, doesn't mean that you have to be ill or something terrible happen to you, but you can gently transition out of this realm because you have integrated parts of you that are required. But for the person to do that, they have to be very aware of the contractual agreements that bind them into the manifestation of this realm. Okay, and so that being said, our mastery over the physical is just one level of mastery. You need to learn how to master that harmony and that high vibrational state in out-of-body experiences too. So before you begin to raise your frequency in order to interact with high dimensional beings, you will also experience low vibrational beings. And a lot of times people get very disappointed or discouraged or scared when they begin to connect with weird entities that through their human mind, they have a very specific filter of the illusion of joy and frequency or love, and they are not able to deal with that. So they want to block it off, and sometimes people sever their intuition because of those difficult interactions. Okay, so and another part of this is that there are millions of beings that we interact with and that we are interacting with multidimensionally. Okay, and to say that that frequency would be the one that we would have to connect to, in reality, you need to be fluid with your frequency and be a conduit of white light, which is all frequencies, and to be able to move through them without resistance, without judgment, in a state of empowered neutrality is the key to higher ascension. Okay, because we are not just masters of this temporary life. Some schools of thought and schools of belief, they only want to focus on being the master of this life. You have a good life, you're happy, you're good, you're done. No, there's more than that. There's the mastery of your interdimensional self and your navigation in dream state, and there's also mastery of your death. Because as you cultivate your frequency in this lifetime, you're choosing your next destination. Okay, so what our focus has to be at is allowing yourself to cultivate compassion, complete deep self-love for yourself, and that requires a deprogramming of matrix programming. It requires your ability to integrate your shadow, to do deep shadow work in order to become one with all of your fractals of yourself. The deepest shadow of fractals of yourself that you don't want to see must integrate. You must integrate them. You must see them. If you don't integrate that dark little part of you that's way over there in the low 20 frequencies, you will never reach higher states of frequencies. So you need to see yourself as the 20 frequency before you get yourself up to the 150, let's say, 1,000. Okay? And I've proven this to myself because when I deprogrammed my programming, that's when I had a conscious contact experience. And I was in a profound state of harmony, but I had just entered the threshold of that harmony with myself. It was just the beginning, trust me. Okay, and it was a conscious experience. The experience was beautiful. It woke me up. It activated my intuition. But there were many experiences after that that I had to hold space for as I was beginning to calibrate myself into the higher realms. Okay, so it's very important that we begin to understand that we need to be conduits of life force, and we cannot pick and choose the frequencies that we come into. Rather, we have to cultivate a biological, psychological, and energetic conduit of infinite potential, so that you can navigate the physical, the interdimensional, and the complete out of disembodiment and death as harmoniously as possible. Okay, and this would be my invitation to you, rather than only focusing on that frequency. Okay, I hope that helps. Thank you so much. David M. Hi. Adelna says, thank you so much, Geraldine. So manifestation is about creating your frequency, ideally to merge with source, but we do need money to live, or maybe we shouldn't worry about that. Not at all. You see, Delna, here is something that is an absolute fact. When you come into harmony with yourself, you heal your body from illnesses, which allows you to have vitality, and your activation of your intuition allows you to tune into your true gifts outside of the programming of the matrix. For example, go to college, get some college education, get a 9-to-5 job, work for others, make others rich, and you kill yourself in that process in the corporate world, most cases. Find a mate, produce a child, you get married, you have a child, white picket fence story, and then you retire. Then after you lived an entire life of working for someone else, or surviving, paying the bills, you now retire. A lot of times you're sick, you never got to do what you really wanted, you're disconnected and you're compartmentalized. There's no connection between your spiritual self and your work. And you've existed an entire life of survival, okay? So the difference between that, and then there's death, right? Hopefully you have a nice retirement and you die. So this is a matrix concept. And many of us are going to see the world transform in the next 10 years. This will no longer be the norm because of artificial intelligence. Because of new technologies coming in, our world is about to change tremendously. And the ones that are going to be producing some of these jobs are going to change. And you are all going to be left, sometimes without a job, sometimes disconnected, lost, not knowing how to connect, because the world that we're going into is about frequency, manifestation, instant manifestation. And so if we don't cultivate the faculties of intuition and the energy arts, we will fall behind in this new evolving world that demands those as the key for survival now. The cultivation of your life force is the way to survive now. It's no longer the physical exchange of your energy for money and the material. That was the old world, okay? Now, what I'm telling you doesn't mean that we're not going to pay rent and have our houses, okay? What that means is that the cultivation of your higher faculties means that you clear yourself up in order to end the cycles of lack in your ancestral lineage that caused poverty, generations and generations of survival. You end that, and you come into your full vitality self so that you can have longevity, health, and you can manifest what you need by doing things that bring you into harmony, that are good for yourself and good for the collective. And it's only when you come into harmony with yourself that you can actually see beyond these limitations in order to anchor new technologies, new services for humanity that can problem solve issues for the greater whole that are going to serve humanity in a way that is conducive to life rather than conducive to death. Okay, so for many centuries, we've been creating for death in order to continue the cyclical cycles of destruction, survival in the matrix. So now we're changing that, and we are coming to co-creation, completely different thing. Okay, and our intention of anchoring that intelligence, that divine intelligence of natural harmony, means that we come into harmony. And this is our intention for all of us, that we come into harmony with these new technologies like AI and all these other things to help bring forward humanity into something that is collectively healing for all. Okay, so this is where we're going to begin to shift ourselves into high functioning co-creators that bring healing and value to the world, to the organism. Okay. I hope that answers that. Okay, Cosmic Key, wow, super, get the point, Geraldine. I will continue to connect with the white light frequency. I appreciate your valuable time. Thank you so much, Melinda. I hope that helps. Your knowledge and lived experience truly is a testament that everything you seek is inside of you. Well done, Geraldine. So humbled to know you. Thank you so much. Love, love, love. It's my honor. Delna, amazing. Thank you. Darina, I love this. Alchemist Alexander, I never stop learning from you. Thank you, Geraldine. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for your amazing questions, because you are doing the work, guys. I love you so much. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you soon. All my love. Bye.